Hey guys, how you doing? So I thought maybe it'd be nice for me to go over some of these things. We haven't started shielded middle arc welding, but we're planning on. And that was the last two chapters that you guys have done. So the first electrodes that we're going to talk about, remember these are electrodes, not sticks. Sticks are what you find on trees. You can call these welding electrodes if you want, or welding rod. But the first thing we're going to talk about are the F classes. And we have your F2, your F3, and your F4, okay? The F2 classes are the ones that are the best to start out with because you can see your arc all the time. They're a little bit, they aren't as pretty to use. They have a forceful or a harsh arc and they sound very loud and your weld isn't beautiful when you're done. It's very rough looking. That's the way it's supposed to be. But what's really handy about these is that it's a utilitarian electrode, so you can use it on metal that is, because of the forceful arc, that's a little bit dirty. You can't quite get all the rust off or all the paint or the dirt off. You're out in the field, you need to get it done. Say you're out welding on somebody's dump truck. It broke right there and you are in your portable truck and off you go. So how do you tell these F3 or these F2 electrodes from the rest? One, they're going to be a 6010 or a 6011. Now you can't tell them by their color because both of these colors, the red and the gray, these are 6010s and these are 6010s. They also come white depending upon the manufacturer. So you have to read the number on the end. And the number on the end, right, where is it? See right there it says 6010. How about I turn it this way so you guys can read it better, huh? Okay, 6010. And these ones also say 6010. The ink marks are a little bit harder to read on them. There you go, 6010 or 8010 or 7010. Okay, the numbers at the start mean the tensile strength. So how strong a weld it is going to resist pulling apart. It's the last two digits that are going to tell you, okay? So we have the 10s and we have the 11s, okay? So these are 6011s right here. Or I don't know, is it easier to read this way? I can't tell. They all look upside down to me, okay? These two are the cellulose electrodes. Easy to clean. You can pretty much scrape it off with just your slag pick or a wire brush. You don't even have to whack at it or hit it with your slag hammer. Okay? These are the ones that you guys will start with. You'll start welding with when we very first start. All right? You keeping up with me? Excellent. The next ones that we have in class are the rutile electrodes. The ones that we have are 6013s. Rutile gives you a heavier slag. It's a softer arc, so it's easier to strike the arc. It gives you a really pretty shiny weld. A lot of people like that because it's a pretty shiny weld, but it does give you a heavy slag. If you have too long of an arc length, it's going to give you big slag holes or carbon deposits, okay? But it's good on thin stuff, it's easy to strike, and it gives you a real smooth bead. When you're choosing electrodes to use, this should be your first choice, the F2s, then your F3s, okay? 6013s are almost always this color, I don't know why. Anyways, with the brand that we get or the brands that we have access to, and you read the number right here on the end, okay? I don't know, maybe it goes this way. Oh, I can't tell you. It looks upside down to me. All right, 60 tensile strength, 1 welding position, 3, it's the flux composition. It tells you it's a rutile composition, okay? Then the one that some of you guys love to use all the time, whether you're choosing to or not, is a 7018. That is the F4 electrodes. Those are used a lot in industry. 6010 and 7018s are used the most in industry because 6010 will get you the penetration and 7018 will cover it up, give you the strength, and make it pretty. okay? But it's your last choice because when you're first learning, you can get porosity at the start, and that porosity follows all the way through your weld, okay? 7018 or the F4 class. The F4 class is a mineral-based flux. It's harder to strike because it gets a heavy slag on the end. So when you go to strike your arc, you need to smack it, the very end of it, down on the table, or take a file and file it off a little bit. Then it will strike your arc. It does produce high-strength welds unless you expose it to moisture. These ones, you'll see some of them that we have in the shop that have a -1 or they have a H4R on there. That means that they can be exposed for 4 hours. Now, exposed to moisture, that means outside of the rod oven, okay? The rod oven keeps them warm, keeps the moisture out. Moisture causes hydrogen cracking, it also causes porosity, right? If your amperage is wrong with 7018s, 8018s, 10118s, 7024s, any of those, your slag is going to be hard to come off. If it's too hot, you won't get your slag off. If it's too cold, you won't get your slag off. But with 7018, if you have too low an amperage and it's too cold, you're also going to have your electrode stick, okay? 7018 and 6011 are really good at sticking when your amperage is too cold. Don't get in the habit of running your electrodes too cold. If you do that, you're going to get poor penetration, which then results in a weaker weld, okay? If you guys have questions, make sure you send me back something. Good job. Hey, Misha, love you. Turn your work in. Let's finish this out strong. All right, bye-bye.